ID with assault rifle in progress.
Good evening and welcome to Washington's Most Wanted. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Rose, and we begin with the search for two suspects wanted in an extremely vicious attack on an innocent victim just waiting for the bus. Take a look at this surveillance video from a bus stop in the 3700 block of Rainier Avenue South in Seattle on March 6th. That's the victim looking at his phone. Now watch as the first suspect eases up behind him before exploding into violence, blindsiding the victim, knocking him to the ground, and then brutally beating him, all just to steal his phone. That's a close-up look at the suspect's face and his beard. Seattle robbery detectives are asking for your help to identify him. He's black, 5'11", with a medium build, dark clothing, and carrying a backpack. Police are hoping somebody recognizes him, and this predator was not alone. There's a second suspect who was sitting on the bench who got up to stop anyone from coming over to help the victim. Tonight, investigators say both of them need to be stopped. Now, police had blurred out the victim's face in this surveillance video before they gave it to me to protect his identity. But this week, he agreed to meet with me at the scene and talk about what happened. He wants to share his story and hope it leads to an arrest. This is how Xander looked one day after he was ambushed and beaten to a pulp.
Broken nose, this whole half of my face was all swollen up, and 2 chipped teeth.
He couldn't work for a week and is lucky his injuries weren't worse.
They x-rayed me and gave me a CAT scan, and they said nothing was out of place or anything.
Xander was waiting for the bus in the Columbia City neighborhood of Seattle at about 8:30 p.m. when he was brutally beaten and robbed. This video shows the first suspect say something to the second suspect sitting on the bench, likely what he was planning to do. A short while later, you see the first suspect posted up behind Xander.
Did you even know he was back there behind you, kind of looking over your shoulder?
No.
In a flash, the first suspect starts punching Xander. The two of them fall, and then the beating continues as the suspect starts smashing Xander's face into the pavement.
Dropped my phone, but he didn't give up quite yet and kept wailing on me until I used the trash can over there as leverage to get away.
Even after he got your phone, he went back and he continued to hit you. Do you remember, was he saying anything to you?
No, I don't remember anything, but I think he was just silent throughout.
At one point, a passerby starts running over, but the second suspect got up from the bench and stopped that Good Samaritan from getting involved, telling him to back off, which he did.
I tried yelling for help, but I could see in his face he was kind of scared too.
You know, I've done a lot of these cases over my career, and this is one that sincerely infuriates me.
Retired Seattle Police robbery detective Merle Carner with Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound says they want to find these guys.
We're irritated. We want to know who these guys are because we want them in custody, and we want them now.
He says the two suspects either didn't know the surveillance camera was there or just didn't care.
Not only did they beat him up, but they come back and they actually stand there. I counted on the video. It's probably 30, 40 seconds while they stood there. So they had no concern over the victim in this case.
8 days later here at 35th Avenue South and Renton Avenue South, just a mile south of the bus stop, there was another violent assault. And detectives think it's the same two suspects.
You're going to see the victim walking on the sidewalk. Number one suspect actually kind of hustled by him. This is when the first assault took place.
As that suspect starts to punch the victim and then jumps on his back, knocking him down, the second suspect comes creeping up and then goes to steal the guy's wallet.
He comes up and actually holds the victim down while the other one puts the boots to him.
You can see him stomping right into the victim's face before both suspects run off north up 35th Avenue South, as the victim is left lying on the pavement with significant head injuries.
Broken nose, concussion, brain injury, lacerations, all of this for one wallet.
Now, Seattle police are comparing the two cases. The method in both blitz attacks is similar, as is the race, age, stature, and some of the clothing.
I'd say there's probably a 97% chance that these are the same two guys, which tells me it's a week between. They're probably going to continue because they scored a cell phone, they got a wallet. who knows what they're going to go for next. We're going to offer up to $1,000 on each of these cases. All we need is information on who these guys are.
It's kind of weird that they didn't want to get anything else, just the phone.
Xander says he still needs dental work to fix his chipped teeth. He has to be careful with his hands because the beating scraped up his knuckles. They started bleeding during our interview. He's keeping a brave face about what happened and says the assault has left him much more aware of his surroundings.
I don't put my earbuds in, and I always look around now before I go anywhere.
Sound advice for everyone in this neighborhood until these two vicious suspects are caught.
I usually always respect the law, so I always want people who did a crime to get caught. To keep it simple, crime doesn't pay.
Well, Xander, we want to make sure that these two pay for what they did to you. This is a look at the first suspect. Police say he's black with a beard, in his 20s, 5 feet 11 inches tall with a medium build. He was carrying that backpack. Second suspect is black, 6 feet 2 inches tall, and he's thin. If you know either of their names, submit a tip to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound right now through the P3 Tips app that you could download to your cell phone for free. There's a cash reward of up to $1,000 per suspect. You can also call 1-800-222-TIPS. It is anonymous. You know, I looked up the definition of lowlife in the dictionary. It says a despicable person, especially a degenerate or immoral person. If you look up scumbag, it is defined as a contemptible or objectionable person. You combine lowlife and scumbag and you get despicable, contemptible, degenerate. Your Honor, I rest my case.